And I think the underlying principle here is, as I've said before, is one of pressure and support, is one of reciprocity, all right? You kind of, if Irene is my principal and she expects a unit of improvement out of me, she has to give me a unit of resource to enable me to improve, all right? Without that quite open contract, we're dead in the water. There's no point in even having the debate, okay? It has to be based upon the notion of reciprocity, or pressure and support, if you prefer that language. Now, when I first talked to you about 300 years ago in the ballroom of the Darabin sort of jazz center or ballroom center, I remember talking about sort of an approach that we had built around school improvement groups, and that idea has caught on, and most schools have their school improvement groups, and I won't talk about that today, but I do think that the school improvement group is a very important strategy for building capacity inside the school. But I also said there needed to be, at that time, a sort of a debate around, debate in the school about, a series of sort of core values in terms of improvement. I was trying to, I remember, in those early days, trying to make a very strong argument that this is not based upon volunteerism, this is a whole school approach. And we needed to have a debate about where the school is. And I'm assuming that most of you have had a debate around those sort of core values. Every school can improve. Improvement is about pupil outcomes. Every individual has a contribution to make. We have to start from where the school is, but to set high goals. And we need to model good practice with precision and raise expectations of what is possible. Right? Now, my guess is that we can all pretty much buy into that. Right? And my guess is that having, when I wander around your schools, I see that this is sort of, part of the sort of the lingua franca in the school. Yeah? Is that about right? This is stuff we know. This is stuff we do. Yes? Yeah? Yeah, by and large. Okay. Now, that seems to me to be, the lowest level of entry, really. It seems to me that once one's got the debate agreed like this, then there's another step to take. And it seems to me that some of the issues that we've been debating today are captured here. We're moving beyond sort of, in a sense, rhetoric there, which may be necessary in the early stages, to actually making some fairly clear decisions about how we're going to actually engage with teacher learning inside the school. We need to make space and time for learning, for professional learning and teacher inquiry. Space and time are the key words there. Unless we can actually put the time aside, and the time is programmed into the weekly, monthly, termly timetable, right, then nothing is going to happen, right? You don't ad hoc this, right? The time has to be put there. And that is, in a sense, part of your side of the reciprocal contract. You have to make the space and the time available, all right? And that is tough, all right? It's easier for you because, in a sense, because there is funding now, for this. But it's still tough, because it's organizationally difficult. It runs against the conventional norms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But also, it's different types of time. It is not just a whole staff meeting. It's not just a meeting for English teachers or math teachers. It may be time for triads to work, maybe time for the school improvement group to go out and become expert in something, and so on, right? So there are different types of time. And in the handbook that we produced, that is all laid out in some detail. Now, the second one is tough as well, because we're not saying, look, just go and observe practice and give a nice warm fuzzy on this, right? Let's search out good evidence, whether the evidence is in research or the evidence is in the good practice amongst this group of schools. I don't care, but we need evidence to actually discipline our discussion on teaching. It's not just what I like or what I do. Where is the evidence that this actually works? And that's why I'm quite keen on the approach that I've been talking about over the last year or two on these research-based models. I can tell you, if I work with you on a particular model of teaching, I can predict the level of impact that has on student learning if you do it right. Okay? We know these things work. This is not risk-taking. We know it could be of evidence for that. We need to study classroom practice. We need to actually look at kids. We need to become absolutely literate in our observations of learning and our measurement of learning. And I accept the point, it's both quantitative and qualitative, and your point was well made earlier.